the reason why I go to this in the verse is because the guitar's going juk 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 juk. So I want to match it. I just think it just works really cool. And I picked 15-inch hi-hats because they sound better in that band. Way with all the guitars sonically, it's a little lower, so the guitars sound better. You know.
And you didn't go to your ride to open up the chorus. You stayed on the hat, but you opened up the hat.
Yeah.
It's a whole different groove.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah, that's a whole different.
Now, is your approach when you have a guitar player is playing 8 notes? Do you look for a part that, like you said, matches it or that complements it?
Both versions are very viable. That's a very good question because sometimes you want to complement it, but sometimes it's better not to.
Yeah, it was something is already playing an 8 note, so maybe you might want to go to straight quarter note.
You have to just, ultimately, I just use my ears. If I play like I'm a producer, I'll go and listen to it and I make decisions based on what I think is right, and then ultimately the producer or the artist has the last say. But I'm like listening to it as if I were producing. What would I want? Does that sound good? That kind of thing. Right. I'm thinking music first. I'm a musician, I just happen to play drums. That's it.
Okay, I come from the school that as a bass player, I always listen to what a drummer is playing. How many musicians do you find that actually do not listen to the drummer and you have to maybe follow them?
That's a good question. See, like if people, the best way to be a great musician or great anything is to pay attention to what's around you. You know, that's what the team playing. You know, that's why Michael Jordan was a genius. You didn't know if he was going to shoot or pass.
Right.
You just didn't know because he knew the game so well that he did what was right. He knew what to do was right. He paid attention to what was around him, even though he was a genius himself. So, as a musician, if I'm playing with like John Fogerty, no click tracks, and he tends to push, and every day he's a little different. So he likes the things to push. So I will try to do what I think is right, but like he'll count off songs, the wrong tempo. I have to make a decision. Ultimately, my point is, with regard to your question, is I try to do what I think is right, but ultimately, if he is pushing and he wants it a certain way, I go with him. I have to support him. And the band has to follow me, because otherwise he'll turn around, he'll be uncomfortable. I listen to the way he sings and the way he's playing his guitar. If he's happened to have too many rock stars, like when he's sick, he had the flu, he wanted everything mellow, and it sounded really cool. But as soon as he got better, he wanted everything faster and more on the edge. And he's the boss, man. My job, it's a lot of work mentally to be, like he'll start like Born on the Pie, you're like, that's not the tempo he will like. That is not the tempo he started at. But I don't want to come in at that tempo and then him go, speed it up. I know he's good.
But you can make some changes when you make your entrance.
Yeah.
You can come in with the feel at that tempo, but by the time you hit the one, you're in the right.
It's okay, it'll work. Musically, that's a little better, I think.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, it was kind of like this intro, and then bam, the band takes off.
Right.
Is that mostly the case with guys that sing and play guitar or whatever other instrument, or just because they're setting their vocal tempo and their guitar tempo?
Yeah, I notice everyone's different, but I know that a lot of times when a guitar player is singing and playing, there's a certain groove that they have. Sometimes the guitar, because it's so rhythmic, you have to be really coordinated to do both. And some people they're paying more attention. Well, like Willie Nelson, holy jeez, he's all over the place. He's singing, and it's like his vocals are all over the place, and his guitar is all over the place. For him, though, if you play with him, you just stay steady.
Right.
Don't follow him. I used to follow him. It was like he looked around like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, well, what are you doing?
I'm doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing what you're doing. I'm trying to do what you're trying to do.
But I know what Rudy was saying about a bass player's following the drummer. If a bass player's not really locked in with the drummer, that could be a train wreck in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, and you may not realize that it's train wreck, but you can hear it, you can feel it.
Oh God, that's a real big nuisance. If people aren't listening, that's a drag. It's interesting, like I'll approach a song sometimes, especially a simple groove song like this. I'm thinking of a song like "Old Man Down Low." Bam, 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 There's two ways I can listen to that song. I focus just on bass. Real swampy. Or it's a trip because the guitars are going, and so I can feel a song both ways. It's really cool when you feel 1 and 3, 1, or bad. It's more bouncy the other way.
Yeah,
And I just, it depends.
But now with Fogarty's band, where he had a couple different bass players, would the different bass players play it differently?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to alter the way you played it?
John, I mean, John hears everything. He even will suggest in the studio what pick you use. He moves the mic on it. I mean, he's the most anal guy for the simplest music. You know, we'll listen to 13 wood snare drums until he figures out which one he wants. And then record 2 songs for a whole week. Like 3.5 hours on one song. 2 takes, listen to it. 2 takes, listen to it. 2 takes, listen to it. Then eat lunch. Next song, 2 takes and listen to it. 2 takes and listen. 2 takes for 3.5 hours. Next day, same 2 songs. Wednesday, next same. I mean, you're going out of your mind. But something happens on Friday. Usually, it's like you're like, I can't wait to get out of school, and get magical about it. And he hears all that stuff, and he definitely is very intense about matching musicians with each other to get that band feel. And in theory, that's on the most basic music of him. In theory, that is correct for everything. You know, it's positioning the right players that get along together and play well together. You know, to get a sound.
Because the great bands are more than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
You know, you're certain bands, and individually they're fine, but together they're magic.
Right. Well, like you said, like Fogarty's music is simple music, but
Zeppelin, I mean, each one of them was amazing. Together, even more amazing.